Hello, everyone. Welcome to At America. My name is Genara, and I will be your MC for this event. I hope that everyone is having a wonderful day today. And for those of you who don't already know, At America is the U.S. Embassy's American Center, and our mission is to provide a space for young Indonesians to learn more about the United States. All right, our event for today is called Movie Discussion. Was Private Ryan really safe? But before we start our movie discussion, I have a little fun fact for you. And the fun fact is, did you know that Steven Spielberg directed Saving Private Ryan as a tribute to his father, Arnold Spielberg, who served in the US Army Signal Corps and fought in Burma during World War II? Quite an interesting fun fact, isn't it? Right. Now let's give the warmest welcome to our moderator for today, and she is Dwika Aprilia Cesarini, a 2013-2014 KL Yes alum from Baltimore, USA. Kak Dwika, the time is yours.
Thank you, Ara, for the good introduction. Hi, everyone. My name is Rika, and I will be moderating this event this afternoon. So, for those of you who are watching online and offline at America site, welcome. It's a pleasure to meet you all here in today's event. Movie discussion, Was Private Ryan really safe? So, in this session, we are not only going to talk about the movie, but also we are going to discuss further about post traumatic stress disorder, which is very relevant to the character of this movie. Without further ado, I will welcome our very own amazing speaker, Mbak Shirley Saragih Turip, who is currently work as a principal researcher at Research of Community Mental Health Initiative, as well as a senior lecturer at Faculty of Psychology at Universitas Indonesia. She also got her PhD in psychiatry in University of Oslo, Norway. So welcome, Mbak Shirley. How are you today?
Thank you, Dwika. I'm fine. How are you?
I'm good. So today is holiday as well, right, in Indonesia. So thank you so much
Yeah,
for your time for having a movie discussion with us with At America today.
pleasure to be here.
Okay, before we start, I'm gonna read a little bit of the synopsis of the movie. So the character that will be examined here is named Private James Francis Ryan from the movie Saving Private Ryan. So this movie takes place during the World War II. So the United States Army receives information that all of brothers were killed in action. So therefore, they find it necessary to go get him back home to his mother. So therefore, the Army sends in an 8-man squad led by Captain John H. Miller in order to rescue and bring James Francis Ryan home. So before we gonna discuss further about the movie, let's watch several clips that we have already prepared for you. So here we go. Okay, so that was several clips of the movies. So let's walk through again in every part. In the first part of the movie, it tells about eight army squad led by Captain Miller are doing a noble mission to save Private Ryan. So in that mission, they lost two of their soldiers. One of them is Wade, which is shown in the scene. And then in the second part, in the middle of the journey, one of the soldiers, Private Raven, would like to discontinue the mission, but with the help of Miller in reminding the soldiers about what the mission is really about. So they all still continue the search of Francis Ryan. In the third part, when they already met James Francis Ryan, unfortunately, um, Ryan declined to go back to US as he has dedicated to save the bridge as one of his mission uh, during the war. And in the final part, one of the touching scene personally during the war when Captain Miller got shot before he dies, he told this to Private James Ryan, earn this and earn it. So basically, he really wants him to live his life to the fullest. So, Mbak Shirley, what do you think about this movie?
Yeah, first of all, this is one of a heavier movie, I believe, like with the theme that is so profound, like war and lots of traumatic events being shown,
Mhm.
and all I think we can see from the picture from just the quotes that there were lots of rare blood and everything, and this is even something a bit scary for the viewers. So I think if you imagine or you think about being the people involved in that scenario, like being living in a war and having to face a combat situation, and being in a situation of risking your life every day, every minute. It is something that is very easily can create like a traumatic memory, of course, in everybody's head. So I think from my perspective as a clinical psychologist, the movie itself is something that requires attention when you want to watch it actually. Even as a viewer, if you are not certain about looking into scary things, looking into these gory views and everything, I don't think this is something that you should watch alone. So but then when we look back, that this is a movie that captured the situation that has been experienced by the US soldiers during World War II. It can also be seen as a documentary, but this is more than just a documentary. Considering that the story and the events are accurate, of course, but then every documentarist has a choice to show or to emphasize which side of the story that they want to present, right? So if you were asking my opinion about this movie, this is a very good movie. I love Tom Hanks, and this is like one of the very few early, time I think I saw Matt Damon. I like him and watch him a lot later on. So from the story, it's very good. And like I said, if you don't have a strong heart, you better watch it with someone or not watch it like bravely alone at the latest. So it captures also the events of those back home, like for the family and also for the leaders and also for the healthcare providers. So it's a complex but good to see and heavy movie. That would be my opinion, Vika. Thank you.
Yeah, but Shirley, you have mentioned about the event might be traumatizing for those who watch it, especially for veterans who might recollect the memories again. So, can you tell me more about post-traumatic stress disorder from your opinion? Like, what are the symptoms that we should be aware of?
Mm. So a traumatic event is actually something that can be very personal. So the very easy definition of it is that if you have been exposed to an experience where your life has been in danger in any way, that can create a traumatic event. For example, if you have an experience of crossing a busy street and you are almost hit by a car or by a motorcycle, which might high probability even might take place in Jakarta, especially, uh, that can be a trigger for traumatic event actually for someone, right? And then in this film, you see a war situation, and even though maybe for certain zone in the world at this moment, right? But if you have been exposed at some point in your life to a traumatic event, any kind of triggering situation might actually cause for a slip or a relapse of the memory. And that might, in the end, precipitate the flood of the feelings being threatened in life. And that is what we call the PTSD. So if you survive an event that somehow endanger your life, and it's been some times, but some kind of other things that's going on around you that might actually put some connection from your prior memory to that actual event, it can trigger the feelings of being scary, of being afraid, of being almost not in control of life, and hello, Rika, did you hear me?
Yes. A little bit breaking, but I got your point, Shelly.
Okay, yeah, okay.
Okay. What are the physical symptoms that the survivors might experience due to PTSD?
Mhm. Well, if you have we call like, you can have some physical symptoms are quite varied, but then most of you will feel when you are exposed to some triggering memories, you will feel some trembling, and maybe you will have palpitation, and maybe you have like a feeling of weakness in your body, and also trigger somewhere. In daily life, you may have difficulty to fall asleep, and then if you go to sleep, you may find it difficult to stay asleep for a recommended time, like you keep ruminate during the night. And then also you may experience something what we call actually can be translated as psychosomatic. So it's like you are ill, but when you go to the doctor, you go to the lab, they couldn't find the source of the illness, but you keep having the symptoms of the illness that you have been through, like what happened to you. Okay, let me see. Dwika, I think I will change to. It seems like my connection is not very good. Let me see.
Okay, take your time. Take your time.
I will just. Hello, can you hear me now, Dwika?
Yes, all clear.
So sorry about it. It's
Okay, Mbak Shelly, I think I lost you again.
going back to rock me. Why? I'm not sure how you can. Okay, hold on. Okay. Uh, is it better now, Dwika?
Yep,
Sorry. Yeah.
it's
Okay.
better.
Okay.
Okay, we shall continue. You've mentioned about psychosomatic symptoms that might be experienced by the survivor, right? So, what are the therapy or self-help therapy that you may suggest for all of those survivors?
This is something very tricky, actually. I mean, if you read all the how do you call it, like academic publication, especially from scholars based in the US, they work, extensively with survivors of wars and deal with PTSD. And there have been lots of evidence that many different kind of psychological behavioral therapy have been administered, and then in combination with psychopharmacology therapy. So it's combining the therapy, the mental therapy, and the use of medication, drugs, and seems like the effectivity of the treatment has been very varied. So there's been a lot of issues here, that all the effort to help PTS people with PTSD, uh, okay, it works, but then there are lots of other circumstances, conditions surrounding it. However, the very latest development that we found is that uh, PTSD was actually inflicted by something that happened in your brain, and it get interlocked, and it cannot be how do you call it, like it cannot be straightened up very easily, so that you need to have something really strong to do that. And now we are facing the era of using psychedelic drugs. Do you know it? It's like MDMA assisted therapy. So it is a very effective therapy to help people with PTSD. However, it requires a lot of skills from the therapist, of course. And of course, it is not something that will be the first solution. So it should be administered or offered only to PTSD patients who have been through several different kind of medication first that didn't work for them, so that they can have the offer of using this MDMA assisted therapy. And it lasts for a very long time. Like you just use one dosage. I don't know the dosage of this psychedelic drug. And then you stay in the therapy room with the patient for 8 to 10 hours. So it's very tiring, of course, for the therapist and for the patients as well. And there should be people who become the observer during the whole process. So that's all that we can find out so far for the treatment of PTSD.
Wow, interesting. So it's the combination of medication and also therapy, Mbak Shelly.
Yes, yes.
Okay. What about the role of family or friends that probably their family member are the PTSD survivor? What can we do to support them?
Yeah. Uh, well, family and significant others, of course, they can help a lot to ease the daily living situation for people with PTSD, especially for people with severe PTSD problem. So the thing is that when people with PTSD are faced with negative emotions and maybe strong stressors, uh, the symptoms might come back and even enhanced by those stress. So the best thing that we can do is actually to be more sensitive to their needs, and to be like more understanding. We must understand that something in their brain have changed, so that they might not think the way we think anymore. There should be some tolerance, even greater tolerance, to the way they think, to the way they behave. And also, what I would also recommend is actually to pay attention to the dates of special significance. For example, if you have been exposed to a tsunami, for example, that almost killed you, and you are now dealing with PTSD, and then the tsunami took place at the end of December, let's say something like that. So I think December can be a very, a vulnerable time for these people. So it is very common that they don't really understand the mechanism, they don't understand the phenomena, but they do feel a bit more uneasy, a bit more annoying, and a bit more too sensitive towards every stimuli around them. So as a family member or significant others, we can pay attention to this kind of signs from them, and then become, try to be more tolerant, try to be more understanding, and give them some space to process, but at the same time be ready, and ready to get help, and ready to offer anything of assistance should they reach out to you. That's it.
Okay, so is this PTSD can be prevented by Shelley, do you think?
Well, then we have to prevent everything that might be dangerous to everybody, which is impossible, I think. As I say, just crossing the street, and you should be careful. Of course, you can prevent the probability of being hit by any vehicle by, extra careful when you cross the street, or if necessary, you shouldn't cross the street. You go for the zebra cross. You go for this, what do you call it, like the bridge, for the pedestrian, that kind of thing. But I think sometimes it is inevitable to prevent it. For example, if you are exposed to natural disaster, then I don't think you can stop a volcano being erupted, or an earthquake to take place, or a tsunami to hit the shore or anything. So unfortunately, it is impossible to prevent the PTSD, since the circumstances that might provoke someone with PTSD can take place at any time and is often out of our control.
Okay. How do we know that we should get emergency help from mental health professional?
When it comes to PTSD, I think once you have experienced a life-threatening situation, doesn't matter how, sometimes we think that, oh, it's really nothing, it's fine, I'm fine, don't say that to yourself. If you should be more honest to yourself, thinking that, I think I was really scared at that time, because I thought I might die, something like that, you know. And then if you have been exposed to that kind of thing, it's better to get some help immediately, so that you can actually process what happened, and you can actually discuss everything that, the sensation, the fear, whatever it is that you have been experienced then and now, and you can try to understand what's going on with you. This kind of action can actually decrease the level of severity of the PTSD symptoms, and then that would be, hopefully, make it easier for you to get over the PTSD as soon as possible, instead of later, and then even like being immune to some of the therapy, which makes you have to go like therapy shopping or something. Yeah.
Yeah, talking about mental health support, how is mental health support in USA or another country based on your understanding, Mbak?
This is an interesting issue, because there have been a like big gap of mental health availability, mental health support availability in every country in this world, and US is one of the high resources country, of course, and yet I think not everybody get equal access to mental health support. So there are still some kind of, maybe it is something that a person should pay by him or herself. It is not covered fully by the insurance scheme or something. But I know that if you need to see a therapist, for example, it will cost you a fortune if you live in the US. In Indonesia, it's still not very expensive compared to the rate in the US, but still for Indonesian, I think that rate is already expensive. So some basic mental health services are available maybe in schools, in like how do you call it, like primary health care providers. But uh, the the issue that they can handle is probably limited, and they need to refer a worst case to someone else, and this someone else might not be as cheap or as free as the one before. For veterans, as I understand, I think the U.S. government provide an excellent service and offer for the veterans to take care of their mental health. This is what I understand actually, and I'm not sure how they can obtain this service, but I think the centers will give them lots of information, and there are also some offers related to like group therapy or encounter group, so that they can actually get some mental health service without really having to have this one-on-one session, which probably sometimes can be scary or stigmatized, things like that.
Um, I can feel relatable with your latest statement, but sometimes we feel afraid to go to psychologists. You know, we overthink first before we are seeing psychologists or psychiatrists. So, do you have any suggestion for us before we are seeing a mental health professional?
Well, I think in Indonesia we have the word curhat, and curhat is actually a very healthy behavior if it is conducted like wisely and quite balanced. Like if you have friends, if one party always curhat or tell everything to one party and the other party can only listen, of course that's not very healthy either. However, I think right now we have to understand that when we live our lives, lots of things happen, and we need time and we need energy to process everything. And then when something feels wrong, it is okay to tell about the issue to your closest one. It can be your friends. Usually this is like the first priority for youth nowadays, and then later on, maybe to parents, maybe to teachers, maybe to lecturers, maybe to other people that you trust. However, it is very good for youth, for everybody, to understand about mental health, because when you listen to the stories, told by your friends, you can actually feel overwhelmed, and you can actually get the feeling that this is something beyond my capacity. I think I cannot help my friend just by nodding, just by smiling, just by hugging, just by crying. So maybe this is the time when someone can actually refer the friend to go to a professional, you know. And then by doing this, we actually destigmatize going to professional help, because our friends said that, oh, it's normal, everybody get the moment like this, and sometimes we just have to trust ourselves to the professional, because I care about you, but I believe I cannot help you. This is beyond me, you know. So I think what we can do is actually to get familiarized with mental health support that available around us. And something very important, do not self-diagnose yourself or diagnose your friend. So that's not, if you are not equipped with the skill, with the knowledge, please don't do that. It will just make everything worse. But we can actually help them by encouraging them to seek help. That would be my advice.
Okay, it is relevant to some questions here from the audience. It's from Fanya. She asked how to respond a friend who tell us about their mental health problem without judging them.
Mm, yeah. So the key is empathy, and empathy doesn't is different from sympathy. So when your friend pour her or his heart to you, and for example cry, you don't need to cry with them. So but you have to listen carefully, you have to listen and give full attention time for that friend. So avoid, for example, listening to the stories and playing with your gadget at the same time, which we do, like almost always. And then we can actually try to show our empathy by looking at them, by giving the gesture that we understand the stories, and at the same time do not compare the experience with anybody else's, because that usually convey judgment, and nobody likes to to be judged when you are pouring your heart. So I think that would be the very basic skill. Just make the real time exclusively to listen to the story. You don't have to listen to the story for like 1 hour or 2 hours. You can actually negotiate, like telling them that, oh, okay, maybe I can have half an hour. Come on, come to the discussion, and then let's talk about your problem. So, but then when you say you can listen, then listen.
Okay. Effective listening is quite a challenge, yeah, Mbak Shirley. Okay, next question from Bella, from our Instagram as well. What if this is happening to us? What if the people that we are telling our story with actually blaming us? Like,
Yeah,
how should we respond to that?
yeah. That would be a very terrible experience for us. Usually, when we tell our story, we choose the person that we want to talk with, right? So we don't just talk to any stranger. And then it can be very disappointing when we think that we can trust this person, but then we end up with all the judgment and maybe some scolding and some other, yeah, things that not very fun. So anyway, I think it is a question of, maybe you can choose wisely. Okay, maybe the person that you should be telling the story is not your best friend, whom you know like to judge, but you enjoy your friendship with her because she's so fun. But she's probably not the best person when she has to listen to your sensitive story. Maybe it is someone else. Okay, maybe it is someone in your family, maybe it is someone in your extended family. However, there's always an option to tell the story to a professional stranger. And this is a safe place, actually. This is a very safe place because they are trained to do their job. It is their job. And then even though you don't know them, but you can actually trust them with whatever it is that you want to convey with them. So if you tell a story to someone and they breach your confidence, then don't do it to that person again. Just look for another person. Just protect yourself.
Yeah. Okay, Mbak Shirley. Some of us are questioning how to differentiate stress due to work or school with mental health symptoms. Like, how do we differentiate those stress or symptoms, Mbak Shirley?
It's actually the same thing, let me put it this way. When you experience stress, you will have a series of symptoms. The symptoms can be physical, it can be emotional, it can be behavioral. The stressor or the thing that creates the stress can be varied too. It can come from school, it can come from work, it can come from home, it can come from your friends, or it can be combination of everything. So when you have a stress, it is virtually impossible for you to actually see it objectively and differentiate, this is the cause or this is the cause. You might have some ideas, but actually it is the aggregate of all of those stressors that create the stress, which in the end inflict all the symptoms that you feel. So you have to take care of your life in a more holistic way. Like that is why if you have stress at school, then maybe it's not just exclusively from school. It might also be something from home too. It might also be something that you don't eat well too. So it can come from a biological perspective, psychological, and social, and most likely it is the combination of those two. That is those three. That's why we call it from biopsychosocial sources.
Yeah, some of us were also asking about the stress that is caused by work as well. How do you see about this, like burnout symptoms, and how we should um, um, how we should do about it?
Burnout.
Mhm.
Yeah, burnout is our enemy if we are workers. And then now in the pandemic situation, maybe some of you experience even more burnout than before the pandemic. And then even if you work from home, you will find that the factors are like longer working hours, maybe more demanding job from your bosses, and then non-negotiable, deadlines and everything. So the burnout is actually stem from overwork combined with less time, combined with um, non how do you call it? Like non-healthy behavior, such as consumption of non-healthy food. Maybe you use some substance like cigarette, or even maybe something else, and maybe you like to sleep at 2 o'clock in the morning instead of at 9 o'clock in the evening, because not because of work only, but maybe because you watch too much Netflix or some things, and then maybe you don't do sports, things like that. Okay, so all of this actually can create burnout. And when you have burnout, what you can do is actually number one, uh, to understand that you have burnout, and to admit that you have burnout. And the first thing that I usually tell to people is to reset their mind. Like, what is it that you are after in your work, that you want to be number one among your peers so that you push yourself too much, or what? So sometimes you have to check your priority. So that's number one. And then number two is to check all the external factors that you think might contribute to your burnout, such as maybe there are too much assignment given to me. But again, think, why do you have too much assignment? Is it you who say yes to everybody? Or is it something really inevitable for you to have to do everything? So if you can actually see that more objectively, you can negotiate with your workplace, you can negotiate with your work. And especially you need to practice being assertive communication. Like, you should know when to say no, you should know when to say yes, and you should know how to balance this thing without hurting anybody's feeling. Okay, so that's all I think with burnout. Other than that, I guess, like, yeah, sometimes we like to work more because then we need more money. But again, think of your priority. So that's number one again. Think of your priority.
That is a very interesting point when you say about assertive communication. Sometimes here in the culture of Sungkanan, yeah, Mbak Shelley, we tend to say yes for everything that will cause us to have burnout. Okay, talking about mental health support in the workplace, like how do you know the support here provided by either government or insurance company here in Indonesia?
Uh, so far, we do have this BPJS schema, I think, for everybody. I'm not sure about the private insurance, but with BPJS, the coverage for the mental health issues is still very limited. That's I know. And then, of course, as BPJS works, you have to go to Puskesmas first, so to go to the primary healthcare first to ask about meetings with mental health care provider. And usually, not in every puskesmas you can meet a mental health professional. I think in Jakarta, maybe in 20 or 25 puskesmas, they do have clinical psychologists. But there are more than 100 puskesmas, so you can do the math. It's only like 20% that have that. I don't know outside Jakarta. But then in most the next level, which is the RSUD usually, they do have either clinical psychologist or a psychiatrist. So you can get referral from the puskesmas to go there actually to check for your mental health. And as this is covered by the BPJS, then it should be free, but it might take a long time because then the queue might be long. Like if you need to go to a general practitioner, it's probably easier because there are more general practitioner, but there are only very few numbers of mental health care provider professionally. So that's a pity. Other than that, if you go to the private services, of course you have to pay whatever whatever fee that they apply to the patients. And it's quite widely available in big cities like Jakarta. Again, in big cities, I'm not talking about all over Indonesia. And then how am I supposed to say it? Like nowadays with the technology, you can also access the mental health service provided by all these online clinic, like many platforms. And I think it's quite economical. It's not so expensive, but the way they do the service is using the text. So for some people, it might not be enough. Some people they need to talk face to face, and some people even need to meet in person. So you just have to understand what is it that works for you. But if you don't know, you can try with the easiest one first, which is this online platform, I think.
Okay, maybe for some of us, it might be our very first experience to see psychologists, yeah, Mbak. What are the suggestions for us to prepare before seeing a psychologist? Sometimes you're just like going, I don't know what to say. What are the suggestions that you might give to us about this?
Yeah. If you decided to meet a psychologist, doesn't matter where, like online or offline or in person. Uh, my best suggestion is to get ready to open up and be honest. Okay, do not shield any image that you want to preserve to the world. For example, you are in a safe place. It's a safe place. It's a safe person, and you need the help. So why not use it to the max? So you don't need to prepare anything, but to prepare yourself to talk openly and freely, and no censor, because every time you talk to a psychologist, it is confidential. We took the oath for that, so don't worry about it. We will not boast about it in any social media or anything. Okay, so just prepare to talk openly.
Okay, thank you, Mbak Shelly. I also got an interesting question here. Can I heal by myself? If I can, how?
So sorry, can you repeat the question?
Yeah. The question is, can I heal by myself? If I can, how?
Okay. When it comes to PTSD, I assume, right? Whether you can heal with PTSD. Um, Time will make it easier for you. Time will make you forget many details of the event. However, if you don't get the right treatment, it will only ease the symptoms, but it will never cure the root. So what I'm saying is that 10 years from the event, if there's something that will trigger the memory, you will have the symptoms all over again. Some of my older patients, he got bedwetting again after 15 years of the event, because he never actually processed the event. It's just like he thought he is okay now, he's fine. But then when at some point there was this car backfire, like a very loud noise. And this person who was actually traumatized during like an armed conflict in one part of Indonesia, he actually live outside that area already. So there's no significant issues that relates to that event anymore, and then there's a very totally different situation. However, that car backfired remind him a lot of a bomb explosion 15 years ago, and he started to get all the symptoms again: the nightmares, the bedwetting, the unstable emotions. So he got angry all the time, and all the irritability, sensitivity, everything. Okay, so when it comes to PTSD, I would suggest that go and talk to professional to maximize the treatment, or the thing that you can, deal with, so that you can heal as much as possible.
Okay. Talking about self-healing, maybe Mbak Shirley, if we are experiencing some stressors, what are the strategies, for example, like breathing technique or anything that you can share with us that we can practice whenever
Yeah.
we are feeling overwhelmed?
Yeah. The most prevalent mental health issues that experienced by people is actually anxiety. So maybe this is maybe a symptom that experienced by most of us at some point in our lives. So when you have things that make you really, really, really anxious, be it just about going to an exam, for example, or you just have to do this job interview, or maybe if you just have this presentation to your boss or anything, then the thing that you can do is, what you said was correct, Dwika, is to calm yourself and to do this breathing practice, something that is called, you can search it, it's called square breathing. So it's like how you take time, 5 minutes, 10 minutes before that, to regulate your breathing. Because then if you are anxious, you tend to breathe very shortly, like something like that, but then when you manage to control that, you become calmer, and of course it will diminish your anxiety a lot, so that you can perform better. Okay, so that's it. And then when it comes to uh, taking care of your mental health, I think regular how do you call it, like a self pampering situation is also very benefiting for you. And then it shouldn't be something very expensive, but some people like to take a me time once in a while in your hectic day. Like maybe every 4 o'clock I will have my most expensive and a delicious tea, and I'll make myself a cup of tea, and I don't want to listen about anything. I don't want to answer to any phone, and then I'll just spend 15 minutes for that. So it could be something very simple like that. It doesn't have to be going holiday to Labuan Bajo or to going shopping to Singapore or anything. It can be something very simple, but something very personal and something that you enjoy a lot. So that's how we can take care of our mental health in this crazy world, I think.
Okay, Mbak Shirley, thank you so much for sharing that to us. Also have this question. We discussed much about a single trauma event, but how do we treat a person with serial trauma events such as being abandoned as a child, bullying at school, and having to experience sexual abuse in teenage? Is the treatment gonna be the same or different?
Basically, it's going to be the same. However, the first thing that we do is actually to make sure that this person are located in a safe place. So if you say that this is something that takes place for years, uh, if this is an adult already, then we should check for the resources that this person can be independent and be in a safe place. If this is a child, then we should find a place to relocate them first before we start the process of healing itself for the child. And especially for women, battered women, or women victims of gender-based violence, things like that, this can be very, very difficult to do. And then many of my clients like these, it's very sad, because then they tend to have a more severe impact of the trauma, such as lower of self-worth, together with all the other traumatic symptoms. And then this is something that requires probably extra treatment. Okay. And also, if the victims is children, sometimes they don't understand what they experienced when they were younger, but then in their adult life, they might have many difficult situations, and that can be rooted in their childhood. So this is also need more attention. So if you say that trauma that have been experienced for a longer time, and there has been like lots of other things going on, and maybe some people can be exposed to multiple traumatic events, so not only in terms of times but also in terms of kinds of traumatic events. This might complicate matters. So the treatment is basically the same, but the time is going to take longer. The skills of the therapist should be better. And then also there might be some additional treatment that might not need to people who just experience one single traumatic event. So this is
Share about her experience about abusive toxic relationship, and it causes her trauma. So how to overcome this type of PTSD and how to handle this type of abusive relationship.
okay. As I say, if this been going on for a longer time, it's gonna take a lot of more effort to get out of it. So number one is actually get out of that abusive relationship. Get out of it. Okay,
Mm,
can't actually stay there and expect yourself to heal. Along the time. And then number two, go to um you need to go to a therapist, of course, but you should understand that there is no single session that will solve your issue. Okay, if you go to a therapist and this person say that if you do this one time then you get better, then it's a lie. Don't go there anymore, because then this is going to take quite some times. And then even after you do that for a longer time, you will learn which part of you that can be healed and which part of you that you should accept as it is. So
mm,
let me put it this way: even though we know that we are not fully back to our old self, we can still love our new self with all the good things, with all the bad things. Try to love ourselves. Okay. And this can be guided by a good and skillful therapist.
mm,
It is already very, very difficult for you to determine that I have to get out of this situation and I have to get better.
mhm,
Okay. And so it's probably a lifelong process, but still, I think if we have determined to do something, to do some improvement to ourselves, it's a lot more worthy for us than just accept that, okay, I'm broken. Let me just stay in this abusive relationship and let me just be a broken me, because then, but Shirley said, I cannot be fixed 100%. The effort is actually what will strengthen you. So please encourage, if you know anybody like this, please encourage themselves to get help and to stay in strong spirit, because this is going to be a long run, like a marathon. And you, if you are a significant person for that particular person, then you can play the role of a very, a good support system for them.
mhm.
Understand that this kind of experience will bring this person going up and up and down so many times. So that's all that we can do so far.
Yeah. Um, in relevance to abusive relationship, this person are actually afraid that the ex might spread bad rumors about her. So do you have any suggestion like how to overcome those perhaps uncontrollable things?
Yeah, that's the keyword: uncontrollable things. So in order for us to master our lives, to master our mental health, actually, at least to the best that we can, is to understand what things that is fall under our control and what things that are fall out of our control. when it is still in our control, the willingness to heal, the determination to leave the bad life behind, to get better, to love myself, that are the things that we can control. So do it and try it and do the best that you can. But then when you come to the things that you cannot control, how my ex will feel, how what do people will say about me, and what my ex will spread, maybe there will be some nasty things or nasty video or anything. Those are the things that you cannot control. So what can we do with that thing? If you insist to control the things that you cannot control, you will fall into despair and it will prevent you from healing. So my suggestion is that let it go. If you know that the ex have some nasty video about you and threaten to spread that video everywhere, talk to the people important to you. Tell them that there is going to be something going on like this, and this is actually out of your control. You have talked to the partner probably and persuade them to cancel the action. But if they don't want to cancel the action, you cannot do anything, right? You cannot just like kill them and take the video. It's just beyond you. But then you prepare yourself, you prepare the people important to you, close to you, about things that might take place. It will actually take some of the control back to you, and it will make you feel better eventually. So know the differentiation between the things that you can control and the things that you cannot control.
Very nice statement, but Shirley, I think we all should practice that. Yeah, sometimes we are just like getting overwhelmed with those uncontrollable things in life. Okay, perhaps as a closing, there's this question like, how do you think mental health is as important as physical health?
Mm. The, yeah, the WHO said that there is no health without mental health. So a healthy person actually have good physical health, you have good mental health, and you have a thriving social life actually. So for you to claim that I am healthy, I am fine, you have to master all those things. And that being said, I guess mental health is as important, is the same value as your physical health, and so we should take care of it because that's, well, it's an investment. If we take care of it, then we can live a more healthier and more fulfilling life in the future.
All right, thank you so much, Shirley, for all the insights given to us today. Thank you so much for your time. Okay. Hope we will see each other again in the next occasion. Shirley, we really appreciate all of the sharing that you have shared to us today. So thank you for everyone who have already watching this event online and also offline at America site. Thank you so much. So stay tuned for the next at America events on our social media platform. So I'm Dwika Aprilia. Thank you so much for having me today. So I will give it back to our e-guide, Ara.
All right, thank you so much, Kak Dikwa. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining our movie discussion today. I would also like to thank our speaker, Ibu Shirley, and our moderator, Kak Dwika, for sharing to us your knowledge. And I hope that everyone had fun and gained a lot of knowledge and insights from today's movie discussion. Now, you may be wondering, how can I develop an awesome idea and create an event for Ad America? It's very easy. You can visit our website at www.atamerica.or.id, and then you can select create an event and collaborate with us. All event proposals coming to us will be reviewed and your event might be featured with us soon. And we also have our social medias. We've got Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and also YouTube at AT America. By following our social medias, you can gain our event updates, fun content, and so much more. All right, it's time to say goodbye. Thank you so much for joining us today, everyone. Again, my name is Genara, and see you soon at the next Ad America event. Goodbye.